I'm sure a lot of you guys are seeing that the NASDAQ market is selling off after market hours, and some people think that it has to do with pretty much this downgrade. For those that did not see, NASDAQ market is down nearly 1%. So everything that it gained today, pretty much double of what it gained today, it has given back. And that's because of what just got announced. So it's, again, markets are reacting. Markets tend to overreact. It might care right now. It might not care by Monday. I'm not here, right? My title might be something, but I'm not here to, oh my God, you need to sell, right? We all know that markets have made a substantial recovery within a very short period of time. Market pullbacks should not concern you unless you really bought at these levels and you can't tolerate a pullback. Then you put yourself in this own, in this hot water. Nonetheless, what exactly just got announced very quickly? So Moody just issued its first ever U.S. credit downgrade, cutting the rating due to rising government debt. So we're going to be breaking this down. It pretty much went from an AAA or AAA to an AA1. And this is still, again, a good credit rating. It's just not as good, right? And this is the first ever downgrade on Moody's behalf. So it's just another institution that downgraded the U.S. based off of its credit rating. I mean, let's be honest. If you had $36 trillion in debt and you pay over $3 trillion in interest, you probably would not have an AAA or, in our case, an 850 credit score, right? Nonetheless, let's go ahead and break this down. So Moody strips the U.S. as top-notch AAA rating. So Moody has stripped the U.S. of top-notch AAA rating, warned about its rising levels of government debt and a widening budget deficit in the world's biggest economy. The thing that really speaks out to me about all of this is, well, why now? Why is it that under the Trump administration that it did this downgrade? Because a lot of people might have assumed that, why not during the Biden administration? It might just be unfortunate timing, but this is the part that stood out to me the most. So Moody's move comes as investors are growing increasingly concerned about the U.S. fiscal trajectory. So Donald Trump's Republican Party is pursuing a budget bill that is widely expected to increase debt significantly over the next decade, for the next 10 years. While we recognize that the U.S.'s significant economic and financial strength, we believe these no longer fully counterbalance the decline in fiscal metrics, Moody said Friday afternoon. So as of right now, we currently sit at a 6.4% when it comes down to our deficit to our GDP. Moody said that it is expected that the federal deficit is to widen to almost 9% of the GDP by 2035. Because again, we're in 2025, 2035 is the next 10 years. And it is saying that our deficit will roughly be about 9% of our overall GDP by 2035. This one-notch downgrade over our 21-notch rating scale reflects the increase over more than a decade in government debt and interest payment ratios to levels that are significantly higher than similarly rated sovereigns, the agency wrote. So pretty much also stating that the yields of the U.S. government bonds have been rising due to news. With the benchmark, again, we've talked about this. We've been talking about this every day. There's people in the comment section that don't like when I talk about it because they think I'm spreading FUD. It's real things that actual markets care about, right? Maybe not the stock market, because we all know that the stock market is a leading indicator and the stock market can rally when Trump sends out a tweet that says, buy now, or markets are going higher. But guess what? Your mortgage or your market value for your house doesn't go up when Trump sends a tweet, and bond markets don't go up when Trump sends a tweet, because again, they're not influenced by tweets or by hopes or by what people say. They're focused on what is actually happening in our marketplace. And if that offends you, then that's your fault, right? Right now, with the benchmark, the 10-year treasury, which is what most of your mortgages are based off of, it is up 0.03% points after the announcement to 4.48% And the rise in yields represents a fall in price. So pretty much stating that it's almost 3% is the difference from the 10-year treasury of what your mortgage rate will be. I don't know the exact formula. You can ask your lender on how exactly it's calculated, but this is why they use the 10-year treasury as, a reference or as a benchmark for your mortgage. Meaning that if you were to take out a loan right now, your lender, when they're shopping around at rates, they would be looking at the 10-year treasury, and it's based off of that. That's why when the 10-year treasury begins to go up, mortgages get more expensive. If it goes up another 0.5%, every average mortgage in the United States with good credit will be at 8%. 8%. And you might be like, well, historically, that's not that bad. It's bad, right? When most Americans, as of right now, it's cheaper to rent than it is to afford a house. We talked about it earlier today. The disconnect. The U.S. housing market has reached its most unaffordable level in history. This is where we were in 2006 or 2008. This is where we are now. It is undeniably expensive to afford a house at 6, 7, yet alone 8% interest rate. And as bond yields continue to go up, this is why I've been stating it. It's not just bond yields in the United States. This is what I talked about earlier today, and people get all offended when I highlight this. Me talking about risk or highlighting uncertainty, if you sell off of a YouTube video, that's on you. I'm just here to inform you what I'm reading about, right? I talk about the good, I talk about the bad. Everyone loves to talk about the good, but no one likes to highlight the bad. I hope that with my videos, as a contrarian, right, you can take the information that I share, the risk, the bad, and make a more informed decision. So you don't go, all in when we're already at overextended levels. And then if markets retrace, you end up bag holding, right? How do you make an informed decision? You don't just think about the upside. You take into consideration the downside. You take into consideration the risk. And this is why we highlighted this. The 30-year bond yields from Europe to North America to Asia are all screaming emergency. They're all going up. It is all now incredibly expensive, not just in the US, but everywhere in the world to borrow money against their government. How is that not something worth talking about? And people still get offended. It baffles me, right? And this is one of the last things that I want to share with you. The UK has overtaken China as the second largest foreign holder of U.S. treasuries in March at $779 billion. China owned a lot of U.S. treasuries. So this is to say that the assumption that China was dumping a bunch of U.S. treasuries during the trade war is true. And by them dumping so much of those treasuries, right, they go from second place to third place because now the UK has overtaken them. Japan's in first place. So now they've dumped so much of it, which now has made bond yields go up, right? And this is the part that's the biggest issue out of all of this. The reason that this is such a big concern is that the lack of progress in our deficit and also the need to refinance our debt. The U.S. pays interest on its debt that it borrows. I think as of right now, we pay nearly $3 trillion or nearly $3 trillion every year in interest payments alone based off of the money that we borrow. It doesn't want to refinance, just like you don't want to refinance on your mortgage in your house at a higher interest rate. So it's been begging. This is why Trump is so bothered with Jerome Powell. I'm not here to agree or disagree. I don't care if you're pro-Trump or against Trump. It's not about that. I'm just explaining it to you. This is why he's so bothered. He's begging Jerome Powell to cut interest rates. But again, it's Trump that started the trade war. So I don't know if this is the way that Jerome Powell is telling Trump to kind of soak in the fire that he put himself in, but kind of, right? Jerome Powell made it very clear. He is not going to cut interest rates with the Federal Reserve until economic data supports it. And maybe that means inflation begins to go up, or maybe we actually get to our 2% target. But the Federal Reserve is data dependent. It is not influenced by what Trump wants to happen, right? He has no influence to what the Federal Reserve decides to do. But let me make this clear. Just like you don't want to refinance at a higher interest rate, neither does the U.S. And this is why they want the Federal Reserve to start cutting interest rates so bond yields go down, and therefore it's less expensive for people like you and I and the government to borrow at a cheaper rate. But until then, this does become a pressing issue. And again, with our increasing deficit, it's not like, again, like right now, okay, things are actually, it's actually down 1% now. Like, you cannot be surprised. Like, can you really? And it's down 1%. There's no reason to celebrate, nothing like that. The market has made an amazing recovery in 38 days. We talked about that today and yesterday. That's an amazing recovery from lows to highs. In 38 days, I think the NASDAQ market has made a 30% recovery, one of the quickest in histories, right? Absolutely insane. NVIDIA made a 61% recovery in 38 days. But my simple question, my simple encouragement for you is to ask yourself why. Are things actually getting better? Do you feel like things are more affordable now? Like we're heading in the right direction? We need to fix this deficit problem with the U.S. debt. It needs to refinance its debt, but of course the Federal Reserve won't budge until it's data dependent. And then now we have this trade war mix. So is it going to put us in such hot water that we do experience another downturn? We'll see. And let me make this also very clear. I bought the dip on Google, NVIDIA, and Apple when markets sold off. I bought a decent amount, but not all in. I have no intention of selling if markets do retrace. I didn't buy any more as markets rallied because I believe that markets are overvalued. Markets recovered much quicker than they should have. They were greedy, and we all know this about the market. So again, if you think markets are going higher, then buy. Put your money where your mouth is. But if you are someone that can see kind of the flashing red lights of some risk, of some concern, then maybe it's not the smartest idea to buy more at these levels. It's not that you need to sell, but it's not that you have to double down when you really ask yourself, why did markets recover? The answer is based off of hope or based off of a tweet. Again, very simple. So we can talk about this a little bit more in detail during our live trading session on Monday. I hope to see you there. That's the second link in the description down below if you want to join us. I was thinking about making a detailed video about United Healthcare stock and if it's a good investment. If you guys would like me to make that video, all I ask you to do is smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you guys' time. I hope that earned your thumbs up. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.